mega bank.
In the meantime, now to our top talker.
3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
And there it goes. The Artemis launch mission finally took off. The uncrewed rocket lifted off just after 1:30 this morning and will be orbiting out in space and then eventually around the moon on a 26-day mission. NBC's Chris Pallone joins us now from Kennedy Space Center. Chris, it's going to take a few days before the Orion actually gets to the moon's orbit. But, you know, where are we so far and how have things been going?
Yeah, pretty smooth, Betsy. You know, for all the delays that we endured, both technical and from the weather, the 2 hurricanes that hit this area over the last couple of weeks, NASA administrators say that this was pretty darn smooth, and it was a really impressive sight to see. Now that Orion crew capsule that rode up on top of the rocket into space is on about a 5 to 6 day mission to go to the moon. There it will enter the moon's orbit. It will orbit the moon for a couple of weeks before returning back to Earth, another 5, 6, 7 day trip. 26 days in total that it will be in space.
Chris, you were 4 miles from 8.8 million pounds of thrust coming out of the bottom of that rocket. How did it feel? How did it sound?
Absolutely amazing. It was such a thrill. I've been down here for all the attempts, and I was worried that when it finally went, I wouldn't be here. And it is something I will remember for the rest of my life. They count down. There's a big countdown clock right across the water from the launch pad, and as it ignited, as the engines lit and it started to lift off, of course, you could see the flame, you could see the thrust, and then about 10 seconds after it took off, you just felt this incredibly low frequency rumble, and it really pounded your organs, your heart. You felt it in your stomach. I likened it to being in a really, really intense grand finale. If a fireworks show in a major city set off all the fireworks at once, and you just feel that pounding your body, and it lasted for about 4.5, 5 minutes as the rocket got further and further into the atmosphere. You just kept feeling it. It was so loud. It was so bright. It lit up everything in the area. And for my money, it was well worth the price of admission. I don't have a lot to compare it to. This is my first launch, but by all accounts, it was really, really impressive. And NASA, you know, rightfully today is really proud of what they did here last night.
We're all certainly very proud. NBC's Chris Pallone for us from Kennedy Space Center. Thank you so much. It was so phenomenal to watch, and there were, you know, it went so well. There were a few little glitches. There was some loose bolts on a valve, and they sent 3 people to the launch pad while the rocket is fully loaded. You watch these 3 guys walk, and there's like the engines are right there, and it was like they are just nutso. This is a big giant bomb sitting on the launch pad.
Get their ratchet.
And they went down and they get back to the safety of the thing. Apparently everybody applauded when they got back in flight room 1.
That's crazy.
And then later on there was a little problem with the flight termination system. The range from the Space Force lost communication with the rocket while it was still on the pad.
Yeah.
So they have to stop everything because of course that's kind of a big deal.
Sure.
And so they got that fixed, and then at T-15, Charlie Blackwell Thompson, the first female flight director in history, did that call out, and it was a moment in history I will never forget. It was just phenomenal to get to watch.
Well, I geek out over baseball games. I really do. I get like a 10-year-old kid. It's been a lot of fun for me to watch you with your passion, and you geek out over this. In fact, Betsy actually worked well into the morning. She was actually a live commentator for a company stream, company-wide, for this launch last night, and we actually got a clip now of Betsy's reaction to the launch. It was great. Here it is.
Oh my God, guys.
3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
Oh, guys, it's going.
Oh, look at all that.
5 engines on the core stage and 2 solid rocket boosters. Now
What do you
propelling the
say?
vehicle at
I mean, it's,
128
you know, I've been
miles per hour.
covering this thing for 4 years. There are people that have been working on some parts of this thing for 20 years. What do you say at that moment that it all lights and it goes? And it has gone perfectly, just exactly to plan so far. And I
It's
mean,
like the birth of a child. You know,
how
you
do
put
you
so much
even-
into it, then there it is.
how do you even like put words on that? You can't. And the only thing I could think of was like, there it goes. It's actually going.
Well, it was great to watch, and I love your passion for it, your
Thanks.
enthusiasm, your excitement, and I know you're particularly very interested in women in this field.
Very excited.
And there are a lot more of women in this field today than there were even 10 years ago, 50 years ago, forget about it.
So many more. And
So-
26 days from now, about December 11th or so, I believe, we have splashdown scheduled in the Pacific
Very
Ocean
good.
off San Diego. We'll be covering
We'll
it.
follow it the whole way.
Certainly will.